Welcome to the Haven Hubcast, a place to learn what business leaders, owners, and professionals are doing to navigate and grow in today's market. Hear from industry experts on everything from marketing, leadership, financing, and more. Brought to you by Haven, a co-working space where you can connect, create, and get stuff done.
Hello, and welcome to another podcast of Haven Hubcast. I am your host, Nancy Sheed, and I am thrilled to be here with Maria Allen, and her business is called Real and Powerful. Maria, welcome.
Hi, Nancy. Thank you so much for having me here today.
I am very excited to dive in, and we were just speaking sort of beforehand, and as opposed to saying you are this or you do this, I'm going to sort of paint the picture of the things and how I came to know you. And then I'd love to turn it over to you and let you sort of share with us your journey of how you have come to this place of having a business where you help people bring more meaning to their lives. Because I know you have to mine and I know you have to the Haven world. How does that sound?
Perfect. Thank you.
So, Maria, I think I first met you probably at one of the wellness seminars at Haven, one of the sort of wellness opportunities that, one of the wellness functions at Haven. But I really got to know you on the wonderful and magical meditation walks that you organize on a weekly basis. I know there are lots of other things that you do to help people sort of get connected to their bodies. Can you talk to us about what your work looks like and or how you got to be where you are?
Thank you, Nancy. Oh, it's a journey like life is, right?
Mm-hmm.
It all started with a running injury way back when, and I was looking to heal, and I was also very anxious in my life. And I was getting my hair cut one day, and my hairdresser said, "Oh, I have a friend who teaches yoga, and she actually teaches out of an apartment that I'm renting out to do all my admin work a few floors up from where the salon was. So go to this apartment on such and such a night and check out yoga." And I said, okay, it sounds good. So I showed up there, didn't have a mat, didn't know one thing about yoga. And there was this shining light of a woman. She was so simple and yet so amazing at the same time. And she taught me yoga. There was about 4 or 5 of us on a thick carpet, which is really not ideal for yoga, but it was in the living room of an apartment. And there I started to get connected to my body in a whole new way. And not only was I connected to my body in a whole new way, meaning like learning how to really breathe consciously, how to move in a way that was more of an appreciation for my body versus a demand on my body.
Mm.
And then the spiritual aspect of it was an automatic byproduct of getting into the present moment. How I can best explain this is just by getting still, and even in the movement, it's not an exact still practice of yoga, but getting more still on my mat and breathing consciously, I started to almost do a self-inquiry of what's going on here? Like, why do all of a sudden I feel so at peace? Where is this peace coming from? And practically speaking, it was coming from the fact that I was actually breathing fuller and my body was becoming more flexible and strong and balanced. So from a physical standpoint, I was getting more aware of myself, and the joy factor that came out of that for me, there was almost like a natural byproduct of joy as a result of taking that time for myself. So this injury became a doorway into finding a whole other way of living, which was more present and more in my body, which took me on a path of getting in my body more and exploring ways that outside of that, through massage therapy, my running became a very different practice. It was more of a meditation and more of an enjoyment versus like, I got to go work out. I got to run X amount of miles.
I was just about to say that when you were describing yoga, I'm like, all right, I have been to that place of yoga a few times, but I still have it. I don't It hasn't transcended to being that exact what you described it. It still sometimes feels like okay, I have to go do something for my body today. So I love that you've said that about the running. Like you've gotten movement to a different level that it's good for you and an exciting part versus I have to go do this check mark. We all strive to be that way.
And you know what? I have my days too where I say, okay, I need to work out because I know it's good for my body. And my mind is saying, I don't want to.
Yeah.
But, and some days I allow that break because I think we all need to recognize it's not always the best move to force ourselves into a workout. But typically, once we get where we're going to be, whether it's on our mat or put our sneakers on or get to the gym, it's like, oh, I'm really glad I went there. And I noticed that with the yoga practice. And while I was in yoga class, I met a massage therapist. And I ended up booking a massage with her and I was blown away. So it's like the receptive factor of being able to just lie on a table. There's no responsibilities. There's no work for me to do except for relax and let go.
Receive and receive. Right? That's hard for a lot of us.
Yes. Especially in our culture where we are taught to be doers and givers, especially women, and to actually give myself the luxury, because then, and it's still to this day, it feels luxurious to take an hour or an hour and a half to just receive.
Yeah, I'm a 90-minuter myself, and it's no longer a luxury. It is a maintenance requirement. That is still a luxury,
Nice.
but yes. I mean, it's such a gift. So, Maria, you were in the discovery of these things that were wonderful for you. How did that then switch to you being from being the receiver and understanding this? And it sounds like being extremely curious, and it was so impactful. What did that shift look like for you to want to start sharing it with others?
So I got to a breaking point in my previous career, which was acting, commercial acting and modeling.
Low stress.
And
low stress. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly. Auditions. And some days I was really good at managing my stress and anxiety around getting in front of the camera like that and all the competition and having 50 women standing in line with me that we all basically look the same. So what does it come down to? And so I was finding myself more stressed than joyful. And at that point, I realized, okay, this is like the universe is like knocking at the door here. And I need to really take a look. Is there something that I can do to shift how I feel about what I'm currently doing? Or is this truly a time in my life where I can start to consider, well, what else is there out there? Is there another way for me to be working in the world? And right away, I started getting emails. It was just a strange, how sometimes, I don't know if you ever experienced this, where you ask the question and you take a pause and all of a sudden you start to see signs. You get a phone conversation or a letter in the mail, an email, and things were coming to me like Costa Rica massage therapy training. And I was like, well, that sounds really cool. And then I found out that the credits don't translate to America. And I'm like, all right, I guess I'm not going to
do it in the US.
So just, I have to add a little romance into this. About the same time I was doing this whole shifting of gears and starting to think, well, maybe it's massage therapy. Because years ago when I graduated from college, a friend of mine gave me a book called What Color is Your Parachute? And I did
we all know it. Yep.
The exercise. And it came out at the end, massage therapy. And I was like, what? Because then I thought I'm going to be a big corporate, do that corporate thing, which I did for a while before the acting. But okay, fast forward. So I'm like, oh, massage therapy, here it is again. And at the same time, I filled out a form or an online form and became a part of the whole eHarmony world.
Okay.
Because I was ready to start dating again after some terrible relationships where I won't go into. But I was like, okay, I'm ready. So I met this person online who lived in Connecticut. And I started doing research on massage therapy schools, and there happened to be one in Westport, Connecticut. I was like, well, isn't that interesting? And I Googled where he lived and to where the school was, and it was 6 miles from each other. I'm like, oh, that's kind of interesting.
Oh, that's
So
interesting.
so as I was really saying yes to massage therapy and maybe to this guy, I was like, okay, me first. And so I went to what they called a discovery day, and it was a half day free open house at the school. And my this eHarmony guy at the time, who is now my husband, he picked me up at the train station, and I borrowed his car. And oh no, he dropped me off at the discovery workshop. And we spent the weekend together, and we were dating at that time. And I said, although there's a massage therapy school in New York City, and I was living in New York City, I'm getting a yes about the Westport campus of Connecticut Center for Massage Therapy. So I'm going, and I'll commute. I'll do what I need to do. And so I jumped into a 2-year program, fell madly in love with massage therapy, anatomy and physiology. I was a total anatomy and physiology geek with flashcards and everything, and all the while continuing to date my boyfriend, who is now my husband. So just following cues and stepping into a world that I didn't know much about, but I was curious. And at the same time, romance was beginning to blossom in my life. And things were really starting to evolve and change and become something entirely new and different. And it felt so good in my bones. It was like a total departure from a near panic attack waiting in line to the audition process. And I mean, acting is my passion still. I love it so much, and I love to present and be in front of the camera. But this was something that felt like a yes to me. So I went with it, not knowing where it was going to go, both the relationship and massage therapy school.
Amazing. Well, I love you mentioned byproducts. I'm going to draw on the thread of the byproducts, right? And it seems like we're not going to say which one led the other, but having these two experiences of your romance and your calling to do something different were lovely. Sort of one was feeding off of the other, so to speak, and making each one even better. You talked about being a anatomy and physiology nerd. I have watched you in person when you are explaining how parts of our body works, or, really helping us get in touch with the smallest of things. And you do it with such grace. It's magical to watch you. And you do not seem like a nerd when you do it. I will tell you, it's just such a grace-filled experience. How did this evolve, Maria? So from the massage therapy, I know there's so much more in terms of, again, how you help people connect with their bodies. How did it evolve, or what are you seeing? I think also we're in a different time than we were 2 years ago, but what are you also seeing as your business has evolved that people need to know, or the small steps they can take, or are they coming to you in a different condition than they were, 2 years ago? I'm just kind of curious what the world looks like from your purview.
Oh, that's a wonderful question. Thank you for asking that. The evolution of the last 2 years in my business, I went from not being able to work at all for 5 months because what I do is write in person, typically, mostly. And when I emerged back in and began working with people again, I saw people were more willing to talk about their stress versus like my neck is stiff, my hip, my hamstrings from running are tight. So that's still there because we're all living and moving beings, and we have aches and pains and injuries. People are more willing now to talk about their overall mental stress and anxiety. And my work has evolved more into adding in visualization and meditation, breathing techniques. I'm also continuing my studies of craniosacral therapy, which is a light touch, hands-on therapy, which really focuses on releasing restrictions in a very gentle way and calming the central nervous system, inviting a deeper breath, inviting a feeling of releasing the anxiety. And in turn, it softens the muscles so they work hand in hand. So I can work on that stiff neck and also help a person find their breath again. So when people get off the table, whether it's a craniosacral session or a massage session, or after a walk in the woods, the Haven walks, I see people's faces change. And that can almost bring me to tears just saying those words, because I feel like I'm doing my work in the world to help people connect to inner peace, so that when they get in the outer world and live their lives, which is obviously stressful in good ways and bad ways, they have more footing, more grounding, and more sense of self. So they're more inner directed versus just trying to put out fires.
Such a gift. I'm just watching your face, and I know what it feels like to be on the receiving end of that. So it is such a gift that you give. Do you think, Maria, when you said people are talking more about their mental health as well, when they're coming to you, are they also doing it in the capacity of understanding the connection between those feelings and the impact of the physiological on their body? Do you think we're a little more smarter and open about that? Or are you still doing a lot more education to sort of say your shoulder might be hurt, and let's talk about how that's all connected. Is that what you're seeing?
I am seeing that people are more curious. And I'm totally fine when people just come in and lie down on the table and say, I'm just going to check out for the next hour.
Yeah.
I am so good with that. I'm also great with it, or good with it, when people when people are more curious about connecting the mental stress with the physical restrictions. And I think also during COVID, a lot of people were tuned into that, and they had resources like different apps, like Headspace is a really great one,
right,
that people could go out and actually start to feel the result of taking 5 minutes or 10 minutes after they reached almost a breaking point of anxiety and thought, I got to do something. And they heard about this Calm app or Headspace app, did it, and had a direct feeling of a before after. So I think there's proof. People have experienced proof, and proof in taking walks. That was the really popular thing to do during COVID, and getting out in nature and noticing the healing effect of nature on their physiology, not just their mental. So the proof, I think, gets people more curious about wanting to learn more, which I'm all willing to talk more about with people.
Which is a lovely segue into sort of how, I've witnessed and been with you and experienced your gifts at Haven. We've gone on our meditation walks and had, do we call them nature baths or forest baths? I forget. What do we?
Forest bathing.
Forest bathing. Oh, I was close. Close.
Woo!
For those of you not in the area, we have a lovely sort of woods nearby at Haven that we actually can physically go lose ourselves in and feel very far removed from the day to day, which is fantastic. And Maria, you're with guidance and meditation, and it's just a wonderful escape. How else, Maria, has Haven sort of been part of your journey? Because I know Haven has benefited from you being part of it. How has Haven been part of your journey or impacted you?
Again, one of those things that came into my life. It was a byproduct of asking the universe. I felt ready to be more social and join a community and land somewhere where I could make friends and also expand my business. And one of my clients said, hey, there's this place called Haven. You might want to look into doing massage there. And that's how I found out about it. I literally live down the road from Haven. It was completely easy for me to make my way over there. And I met Felicia, and I joined about a month before COVID hit. I'd set up a massage space there. I gave a handful of massages, and then boom, COVID hit. And then Teresa, my dear friend, who is one of the social member, I don't know what her title is, but she connects
coordinator,
people.
right.
Outreach, rock star.
General great people person. We're going to get her on the podcast too. So more on Teresa later.
Teresa called me one day just to check in when COVID hit. And I told her that I would love to be a part and be involved with COVID, but I'm just not be involved with Haven, but I'm just not quite sure how to do it because what I do is hands-on. And she said, would you like to do a Zoom Haven halftime leading a meditation? And that I said, sure. So it evolved from there to, would you like to lead the walks? Because now we're going to meet live. Like once it was safe enough to do so, we met in person. And that was almost 2 years ago. This summer will be 2 years that I've been leading the group. And I can't believe it either. And I will say to you, Haven is a game changer in my life, personally and professionally. I have met such wonderful people who are sincerely soul sisters of mine. And I've met great new clients, and it's a place to socialize and a place that is like a second home to me. And I am so grateful for Felicia for creating this community and giving me wings. Like, honestly, I didn't realize that I could expand what I do and reach people in this way. And it's really made my creative wheels spin in terms of how can I expand my business and not only assist people with their healing on the table, but in their mind and in embodiment work and movement work, breathing practices. And all of this is because Haven gave me a platform and people who said, yeah, I'll try that. And so we all kind of jumped in together. Hey, let's try it and see what happens. And here we are, and here like with you today. And just, I'm having the most amazing time. And I feel so grateful to have this opportunity to share what I do and to get to know you more too.
Like I said, I love that. And I love that there's kind of like, let's try it. Should we do this? How about that? Or, you know what I mean? It is very, the word you said, platform. I like the words, a place to launch, a place to connect, a place to try things, a place to also seek refuge sometimes, right? Like it means so many wonderful things to people. So Maria, thank you for being a part of it. And thank you for your time today. And I did not know all of this story of yours. So I'm delighted. I'm delighted to have heard about your circuitous route as well. For people who want to know more about what you do, who want to connect, what's the best way to reach you?
Sure. Thank you again so much, Nancy. This is so much fun. They can reach me at my website and find out all the other things that I do besides massage. And they can reach me at realandpowerful.com. So it's REALANDPOWERFUL.com. realandpowerful.com. And my email address is out there, as well as my cell phone, and a text is welcomed, and a call. So
perfect.
There's where you can reach me.
We will put all those in the show notes as well, so people can connect. And Maria, thank you for your time. And I feel like I've just had a little half an hour of grace in spending time with you. So that was a gift in of itself. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening to the Haven Hubcast, a place to learn what business leaders and owners are doing to navigate and grow in today's market. Please leave a review on Apple Podcasts and subscribe on your favorite podcast app. Haven is a co-working space and virtual community located in the heart of Fairfield County, Connecticut. Haven is a hub for business owners and professionals to connect, create, and get stuff done. Find out more about the Haven community online at haven.com. That's HAYVN.com. Haven Hubcast is produced by Sound Advice Strategies.